Hello, Internet! Welcome back to the Midnight Hour.
We back again. It's just as spooky as before, if not
Just
more.
spooky on our new channel. We'll be on our own account from now on, separate, so we can upload a little bit more frequently.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll be doing two episodes a month this time instead of one whenever we get to it, like we were before. And tonight
That was pretty much the whenever we picked a topic.
Right.
And yeah.
But tonight, for our great comeback, I have settled on my personal favorite American supernatural event, the Mothman.
The Mothman.
He's good. He's one of my favorites of all time. And it's gonna be an interesting one.
He's alright. I like him. Mothman's cool.
Oh yeah. When I get gushing, I'm sure you'll realize why I like him so much.
Right, yeah.
This is gonna be a weird one because the research was taxing.
It's batshit is what it was.
It's super rough.
Like, just, man, there's just volumes upon volumes of just, I don't even know what to call it, really. Like, sightings and fucking government interference.
Well, it's weird, too, because when we covered Bigfoot, it was like, there's not a lot of stuff for Bigfoot. It's a lot of, like,
there's
the
a
same
lot of stuff for Bigfoot, but it's all in the same wheelhouse, yeah.
But at least there's a deluge of garbage, like, films we could talk about.
Dude,
Mothman
that was the main issue that I was like, there's no fucking movies about Mothman.
It's weird.
They're all documentaries about this is Point Pleasant.
It's strange. Yeah, normally on Midnight Hour, we spend a little bit of time discussing kind of the tentpole films, like pop culture submissions for a topic, or
stuff we're not even going to talk about because it's been talked to death.
Yeah, we like cover
Guess what doesn't exist for this particular subject?
Tentpole Mothman movies.
Anything. Yeah.
The one we're discussing.
Where we watched the one tentpole movie.
Yeah, that's it. We did because that's all we had. It's not like when we did Animal Attacks and we were like, well, we're not going to watch Jaws. We were like, well, it'd be like if we only had Jaws.
Yeah.
Which wouldn't be a bad thing.
No, because don't call the Mothman prophecies Jaws.
I mean, if we're talking relative, it's the Jaws of Mothman,
movies, but
it's bad. We'll get to it.
Don't try and try and defend this shit.
But yeah, normally we talk about tentpole in pop culture, like submissions, and then we either do movies and then eyewitness accounts. Usually just up to us.
Yeah,
how we're feeling.
Especially for a inaugural episode of a new channel.
It's pretty fun.
This is going to be a weird departure from a thing that you probably don't even know we do. Anyway, so trust us, this is a departure.
Yeah, normally we have a lot of films to discuss, but this time
because they'll make movies about motherfucking anything.
So. There are hundreds of Bigfoot kill people in woods movies.
Dude, and they're trash.
Half of one about Mothman doing it.
Yeah, not even. There's one, I watched one. I found one that was that had Mothman in it.
Right. Right.
That was essentially that. Mothman's killing people.
Which is like, no, he doesn't.
He doesn't, though.
No.
There's never been any bloodshed from Mothman.
Absolutely no violent reports of Mothman. There's one guy, I'll get to him when we do live things. There's a guy that I always side-eye.
Oh, yeah? There's a dude that, it might have eaten his dog.
That's the guy.
Oh, yeah.
I call bullshit. I'm like, dude, Mothman don't hurt nobody. You shut the fuck up, dude. Your dog ran away.
It ran away with Mothman. It was just like...
It's treating it way better, probably.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was nothing. There was just... I watched 2 little documentaries.
That's mainly what it is. Yeah. It's like, here's Point Pleasant.
And they're garbage.
Uh-huh.
They don't go into... Like, I did my digging. I freshened up. Mothman's a subject I really love, and a lot of the shit's on my brain a lot. But... Man, like, I wanted to find one thing. I resorted to watching the Mountain Monsters episode on the Mothman.
Really?
Which is,
I saw some clips. And
it's
I was
a treat.
They
our torches. They have torches to lure the moth. They're waving these fucking torches around the woods. And then they're like, well, we'll put them out. And there's
That's how you hunt a Mothman.
There's a part where they're like, look. And their torches, like, are on fire again over in the woods. And they go put them out. And they're just like, I swear, Trapper, our torches just relit themselves.
Oh, dang.
We gotta get the fuck out of these woods. For anybody who doesn't watch Mountain Monsters, please do. It is.
It can be.
It is wonderful.
It's a good time sometimes.
Watch their Snallygaster episode just for the amount of times they say Snallygaster.
It's a fun word.
Dead seriousness. But yeah, Mothman, man.
Mothman, man.
I will clarify, because I'm very picky about Mothman. I do not associate Mothman of Point Pleasant with any other winged humanoid sightings worldwide. I don't go for that Chicago Mothman shit we're dealing with recently.
Yeah, other than the past year.
Yeah, I don't care about that whole like, oh, they saw him in Chernobyl. I don't associate any of that stuff because I don't acknowledge the titular prophecies part.
Right. Where he's like the whole harbinger of doom type of thing.
I mentioned it while we were watching it, and it's because a lot of the people saying that that they were hearing prophecies came well after. Nobody said, I heard this before it happened. It was always like, hey, I had heard this.
Well, the main...
Which is,
yeah, it's whatever.
Par for the course with information you think is gibberish.
Honestly, it's par for the course for any disaster where somebody's always just like, I saw this coming somehow, whether you got told by an interdimensional moth creature.
But it's one of those things where, like, when you really look at like the window of that first sighting of the teenagers from Mothman to the bridge collapse, all that prophecy stuff feels like it's like not a delusion of grandeur, but it's like it feels stapled on and too big for what, like, how good and juicy, like, how tight the initial stuff is. I think I see what you're talking about, yeah. And I always look at it and I just go, like, I don't... Because there's already too much shit going on in Point Pleasant. That's
mainly the issue that I had with the whole, this Mothman digging was, like, dude, I was saying, too, Mothman is a hub. Yeah, for a million rabbit holes.
Oh, yeah.
That all branch off, and you could pick any single tunnel face and just dig for days and days and days and really get nowhere. That's where I ended up at the end of the Mothman research. Was like, I feel like I've done nothing. I'm no further.
It's like Twin Peaks. Mothman being seen by few teens is like the pilot for a David Lynch show.
Yeah.
And then every episode's weird. And you're just like,
and it's just a bunch of stuff that doesn't seem connected, and even the connections that are made are like so tenuous at best.
Oh, yeah.
And it's fuck me, Mothman.
Okay.
Don't literally.
Here's a fucking weird thing, because I love because we have nothing to say about films.
No.
So we're diving right into.
I can talk about a movie I watched.
Sure.
I watched a movie.
That first,
okay.
Then, yeah.
I watched it. It's gonna be really quick. The movie was hot trash. It was just called Mothman.
Right.
And it starred the mechanic chick from Firefly.
Okay, yeah.
And I think it was made in like 2010.
Sure.
And Mothman is they go to the cornstalk curse.
Right.
They kind of go that angle, and which I'm sure we'll talk about. So I'm not gonna give the background here. But he's like a bringer of vengeance. Kind of like a... Right. It's essentially I Know What You Did Last Summer, but Mothman instead. And he, like...
Also, it's like I Know What You Did Last Century.
Yeah. And he gets at you from, like, reflective surfaces. Mirrors.
Excuse me?
And, yeah, it's very strange. He, like, comes out of them. And,
yeah, because when I think Mothman, I think...
reflective surfaces.
Mirror ghost.
Get away from the mirrors. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. So there's a bunch of, like, people shattering mirrors. There's, like... You gotta rip your eyes out because, like, you can't see him or something like that.
What the fuck?
And it takes place in Point Pleasant.
Sure.
You know, they're, like... It's... The climax of the film... If you can call it a film, the climax of the thing that I soaked in with my eyes, unfortunately, takes place during the Mothman Festival.
Okay.
So they're like, and they're like shooting at it, and nothing's happening. The Mothman, it's like sci-fi original graphics.
So it's just
CGI. It's not very good. He looks kind of cool. Like the model looks cool.
Right.
But he looks like he's made of ashes, kind of, or like burnt wood or matter of some kind. And they're like, okay, so a bunch of kids are dicking around at a lake. Somebody brought their younger brother. One of the guys brought their younger brother, and they're messing with him. Everybody's
Right,
drinking
right.
beers, and they're messing with him, and this kid drowns in the lake. And they're like, well, we can't. They have to cover it up.
And he's Jason.
And he should be Jason, but he's not Jason.
What the
They have to cover it up.
Right.
Because they're like, well, this is going to ruin our lives. And I'm like, how? He drowned. This is a tragedy. Yeah, but it's one of those I Know What You Did Last Summer things where they're like, we got to think about what's good for the group.
Yeah.
The dialogue sucks.
It's an accident.
They, especially the main girl, I forget her name. I think her first name is Jewel. The actress's name is Jewel something. But it's the mechanic.
Yeah.
The savant
Kaylee,
lady. Kaylee, thank you. From Firefly. And she does not belong to the age group that she's supposed to. She's like, seems pretty older
She's
than everybody else there.
35.
Yeah, exactly. And and she's the reluctant one. Oh, come on, guys, don't mess with him, blah, blah, blah. And then, so they're tugging on his legs. They're like swimming in a little swimming hole, and they're swimming underwater and tugging at his legs. Mm-hmm. Be like, Mothman's gonna get you, Mothman's gonna get you. And then they drown him.
Because when I think moths, I think
underwater
I think
attacks.
Jaws. Yeah, I think underwater attacks.
Obviously.
The fuck?
Dude, I always, when I'm going to swimming, I'm like checking the water for like, what's your moth situation like in the water?
How many moths you got going?
How many moths do you got? Do you need moths? Whatever.
when you go to somebody's pool and they haven't like filtered it in a little bit.
Yeah, there's
like,
moths everywhere.
There's bugs.
I fucking hate it. Fluttering underwater. It's
just like.
You can't see what we're just doing, but it was funny. Trust me. So they're tugging at his legs, and the kid drowns. They drown him because everybody's drunk and they're messing with him too hard. In the lake, and they drown him.
Classic.
Classic stuff.
Classic.
And then they're on the dock. They bring the boy to the dock, and they're trying to do CPR on him, and he's dead. He's gone. So they start to. They have to like. How are we gonna cover this up? Which is that's what I said. I was watching this like, you don't need to. What the fuck?
What do you think they're gonna do an autopsy and like how hard did you grab his leg?
Yeah.
Dude?
What do you mean you drowned him? Just be like, no, he drowned. We couldn't find him in time. It'd be so easy.
It was dark, dude.
I mean, yeah, it sucks that you killed him, but
we'll take this to our graves.
You could just lie about it.
Yeah, this isn't like hitting that dude in I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Yeah, exactly. This is it goes a step further to get even worse because they say. One of the teenagers brings up, okay, well, what if he was diving into the water, hit his head on a rock? And they're like, perfect, good idea.
No, you would see
so they take a rock and bash this little boy's head in when he's dead.
They can tell.
They don't show it, but yeah, especially they can tell because their ceiling of the pact is everybody takes a swing at his head with a rock. It's not good.
Yeah, he hit his head when he dived in.
Like a bunch of times. Oh, it was like 8 times.
He kept going.
Yeah. We kept throwing him in there or something.
What the fuck?
We told him to stop. Like, you're just hitting your head over and over again. We tried to stop him. He just kept. That's one thing about little Jimmy. He was tenacious.
We should have put him back in the car. He was looking woozy.
He was looking real bad. He's a slick little bastard, though. We couldn't get a hold of him. And he kept
diving right in.
He just kept driving right into the fucking rocks. But anyway, so that's their pact. It's like 10 years later.
Oh shit!
Kaylee is like
is now 65 years old.
Yeah, essentially, yeah. She's a journalist, quote unquote, and they have her boss goes to have her cover the Mothman Festival at Point Pleasant, her hometown. So they go there. There's a bunch of like. She comes back. It's kind of like a prodigal son returning. Everybody from the friends group is kind of like, "Yo, fuck you for leaving." They don't trust her. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Fuck off.
I know, it's so bad, and I started drifting out of it. Like I don't really understand. There was like an old guy who's blinded because it turns out he blinded himself, so the Mothman couldn't get him because he hit a kid with his car.
Because your eyes are reflective surfaces.
That must be it. I'm sure they explained it. I just was not paying attention.
He'll crawl out of your eyes.
Because it was bad movie. And not a good kind of bad where it's like, this is fun. It's just like, fuck me, what am I doing? And, yeah, it turns out that the old man is like in cahoots with the Mothman. Okay. Like, they don't bring up Indrid Cold. They don't bring up Men in Black at all, I don't think. And... It ends in they have to do this like banishing ritual because it's a spirit from Cornstalk.
Sure.
They have to go to like a furnace or something. It's like an abandoned warehouse, and it's like
right.
It's so bad. It's just dumb. I kind of don't want to talk about it anymore. They win.
Kudos for pulling like the cornstalk shit up.
Yeah,
that's
for sure.
That's kind of low key.
They kind of changed it around.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
To where it was like, because cornstalk actually was like him and his son got killed, and it was like because he came to warn some soldiers, and they were just like, "Fuck you," they just killed him. And I think they changed that around a little bit, but I don't remember how because, like I said, this movie was not worth paying attention.
Right.
So. It ends. The ending scene is very bizarre because the guy who is like the only other sensible person kind of in this group of what were teenagers is like in the hospital because he got wounded in the final confrontation with Mothman.
Of course.
Right. And
as you do.
I mean, it's a formidable opponent. And they're kind of like having a connective moment in the hospital room, and then all of a sudden Kaylee's eyes start glowing red, and he's like, "Get away from me! Get away from me!" And then moths start fluttering around everywhere, and she's just like, "What are you doing? What's the matter?" And then it ends, cut to like, you know,
like not Rob Zombie.
Yeah, it's pretty much, and it's that it was over, and I was like, wait, is he possessing people? Nobody's ever had glowing red eyes in this movie before. What? Is he crazy now, I guess is what's going on too? But he didn't show signs of cracking insanity before. Is this a dream? Who cares? And then I turned it off.
Is this like the end of Nightmare on Elm Street, where it just doesn't make sense anymore?
Yeah.
Or are we in multiple dreams? I don't know.
Who gives a shit?
That sounds bad.
Have they? Oh, it was. It was very bad. Just call Mothman. Don't watch it. You don't need to. You're not missing anything. Mostly, I was just like, poor Firefly girl.
Yeah.
You know?
Mothman's the last person who should be given a slasher movie monster treatment.
Yeah.
He's like nothing wrong.
I mean, they kind of do like, they make it a little deeper. He's like a demon of vengeance.
He's like
instead of just like, yeah, kind of. Because I figure that's a better approach than, because Mothman's got such a thick tapestry of shit behind him.
Yeah.
And connected to him and all types of stuff, which we can get into talking about that.
Definitely.
But it's a little better than just like, there's a moth monster in the woods ripping people's heads off. You know? There's
which
like a
is
little...
like so easy.
I would have liked that better after watching this movie, because I thought it was like, okay, that's cool. They're kind of going somewhere else with it. And then I was like, just fucking put him in the woods and have him rip teenagers in half for an hour. You know what I mean? I don't care.
Sure.
And that's the fucking end of that movie. It was bad Mothman. Bad Mothman.
Yeah, that's kind of the trend, is like that movie exists, and then there's some shit docs, and then there's a couple episodes of Monster Quest where they talk about it.
Yeah.
And there's
some History Channel shit.
But man,
any sort of like cryptid breakdown show has done a Mothman.
Yeah.
It's like Mothman, Jersey Devil, you know, Bigfoot, werewolves, that type of shit.
Of course. He's like literally, if like American folklore had like a Universal Monsters lineup, he'd be up there. He'd have to be. He'd be the Mount Rushmore of American
folklore
creatures.
Absolutely.
Be like Bigfoot, Mothman,
Jersey Devil. I mean, because
like a werewolf, like beast. Like
nah, but werewolves are old.
Nah, well, I don't know, like Chupacabra.
Yeah, but that's only been like the past 5 years or whatever.
The 90s.
Not 5 years, but
yeah. Yeah, Mothman does not get any love really in pop culture.
No, he doesn't. In the cryptid community, he's like big swinging dick. You know what I mean? Like
fucking cool.
Yeah, right, and there's a bunch of cool shit wrapped up in him.
Yeah. He's blanketed in more shit than anybody else.
Yeah.
Like when you really get to like Bigfoot, it's like Bigfoot has like a core thing. And then like anytime somebody goes, well, what if Bigfoot was aliens? You go, no.
Shut up. Yeah.
But
Mothman, it's like, what if Mothman was aliens? You're like, fucking maybe, dude.
What if Mothman was a Native American curse? You're like, that's
possibly
cool too.
Yeah.
What if Mothman?
Pretty open-ended, yeah.
Yeah, because we're gonna break it down now, but Mothman is fucking weird.
Fascinating in a multitude of ways.
Let's pursue each thread individually. So let's start with just like the sightings, just the people who saw him, because they're weird on their own.
Yeah.
It started with two teens that saw him near the old TNT
Or it was
plant.
like 2 sets of teens.
Yeah. A bunch of kids were all hanging out, but they saw it.
They went up to fucking Makeout Point or whatever, and
Which was
up by the old TNT plant.
I brought that up. I was talking to our buddy Eric, and I said that, and he goes, "We need an entire plant for TNT," and I'm like, "Yeah.
They buried a bunch of it underground so it didn't get bombed in the war effort.
Yeah. Because it would have been a problem.
Yeah.
But yeah, so a bunch of teens all hanging out up by the old TNT plant said they witnessed
Such a classic setup.
like
too.
6 foot tall, all white, which is a big detail.
Well, they said it was gray. In the
They said it was like gray. Yeah. Well, it's always like gray or white, which is weird because he's always like depicted, like drawn, and it's like that black, like midnight,
just
black.
made of shadows.
Yeah, with the big old eyes.
The big eyes are a thing.
Bright red eyes,
and they're
is
not
consistent.
They're weird too because they're not glowing eyes. They're like reflecting eyes.
Yes. Which is interesting.
I thought so too. It's a very cool little touch.
I believe that they said he pursued the car. Yeah, he pursued the car because later they inspected it and there were scratches on the hood. And this sighting kicked off just a fucking deluge of sightings.
Goddamn litany of bullshit.
Yeah, people saw him left and right. A little weird detail, though, about that first sighting that I've always noted is that the newspaper reported it, like, next day. Mm-hmm. And they was sighted at, like, midnight, which is weird.
Well, I mean...
It's small town.
Yeah, and these kids are also freaking out that everybody knows, you know what I mean? Like, these...
Right.
That was one of the things that the cop said, who was talking about the kids and stuff. He's like, I know these kids. Like, they're not bullshitting. They're not, like, shitheads.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, is it's a small town, and everybody was just so, like...
Like, you saw what?
There's that lady that saw him, like, a couple days later, dropped her fucking kid.
Like, like, fell on her kid.
Yeah, and he just stood up next to the car, and they were like, oh, fuck.
Oh, shit.
That story, though, is one that freaked me out a lot as a kid, because she, she dropped her kid, she scrambled to fucking collect herself and get inside, and they described him coming up the porch and just, like, wandering around, peering in windows. That shit fucking terrified me when I was young.
That's a problem. Well, the account that I read or heard or however you came about it, because I was, like, podcasts, reading online, you know what I mean, like YouTube videos, shit like that. However, I came about this one was that old school thing where Mothman is like shut your body down, get into your brain and just like he's like on some weird frequency, and she fell over like on top of her kid, and she said that she knew what was happening but she couldn't do anything, like she couldn't move, and finally, like, I guess through force of will, I suppose, because I totally get it. If you're like on top of your kid's here, there's a moth monster over there, and you're just like, go! Just screaming, your mind is yelling at every fiber of your being to get up and do something. And
that's a reoccurring thing. People that see Mothman are paralyzed.
Oh, yeah.
They freeze up. And it's like, I get it. It's because it's like, you're...
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's kind of a thing, is like...
You're processing.
People were saying it's kind of like sleep paralysis, where you just freeze and you can't move. But like, how much of that is sheer terror and your body shutting down because of it, or is it actually like Mothman is shutting your fucking brain down?
I can imagine it. I can imagine it feeling longer than it was.
Oh, absolutely.
Because you're just like processing what you're seeing, like
at like 1,000,000 miles an hour.
Oh yeah,
sure.
And all that's happening is it's like 3-4 seconds.
Yeah, you're just on that
up the steps.
Yeah, you're just on that drug from Dread.
Right.
Yeah. I forget the name of that drug.
Slow-mo, right?
I have no idea. I don't remember.
But yeah, Mothman sightings tend to follow, very, very standard affair. Another weird description of Mothman that's pretty consistent is the fact that he doesn't flap his wings.
I was gonna bring that up too.
They talk about that he just
Superman flies away, but it's like, then what do you need the wings for?
Yeah.
Are they gliders?
And he flies up to like 100 miles an hour, like he just chases people down in dead silence and shit. That's
especially in that on the teens seeing him that first sighting, because he had like it was like a 57 Chevy, something or other, and it was like, that ain't no fuck around shit, man. No. You can get going in them cars, and that Mothman was just like not giving a shit,
just fall right up on it. Yeah, no matter what they did. But he's never, like I mentioned earlier, he's never been reported as being hostile or aggressive towards anybody. He's always just been staring at you, or like inquisitive or following people. There's that one story of that guy who says his dog, he's never saw his dog again after he ran off.
His dog, Bandit.
Bandit.
It's a good name for dog, man.
Especially a 50s dog.
Oh, yeah.
Or maybe a 60s dog.
But yeah, that's why I always look at that guy's side eye. I'm like, I don't think your dog's. I think Mothman's the nicest cryptid you can run into.
It gets hungry.
I don't think it does.
You don't think it does?
I don't think Mothman. I have thoughts of Mothman.
I have
What's a moth? He probably drinking flowers and shit. What do moths eat?
It's a big. I don't know what moths eat actually.
Right.
I know stuff that eats moths. Right. And that's about it.
Bats. Big bats.
Yeah, bats, lizards.
But yeah, Mothman was cited pretty frequently. A lot. I can't remember the exact number. It's like a 2-year period.
It was like 66 to 67, and I came across a number too, but it was like
it's up there. It's I think it's either around 100 or a little over 100.
I want to say it was in the hundreds. Yeah,
it's a lot of people cited this thing, and it terrorizes town. But which is always very curious. Of course, everybody who knows Mothman knows it culminates in the
collapse of the Silver Bridge.
Silver Bridge collapsing into the river, and a bunch of 46 people die.
46 people. In the Ohio River.
And people say that Mothman was sighted around the bridge shortly before it, of course. Which
Richard Gere predicted it falling.
Richard Gere did.
I think there was 46 people drowned, but I think there was a couple bodies that never got found.
Right. Mothman ate those.
Mothman probably ate them, is what I'm saying.
But yeah, that's actually, it's an interesting note, because that's when Mothman just stopped. Mm-hmm. Mothman did not get sighted in Point Pleasant forever. Until...
Or at least not credibly.
Yeah,
I bet there was still some people going like, I seen the Mothman.
Right. And then, was it John Keel?
John Keel.
Yeah.
John A. Keel.
Yeah, he started investigating people, and that's actually where you get a lot of the prophecies aspect of Mothman.
Yes.
Which I don't really like, but...
He took all the... he started talking... I was listening to... I found this actually is a rad video of... I gotta look if he does more like this. But there's a guy who plays Truck Simulator and just puts on Art Bell.
Awesome.
That's what I was saying too. So
awesome.
It's fucking super cool. So I gotta look and see if he has more, because I will definitely get down on that guy. But it was just John A. Keel talking to Art Bell on Coast to Coast,
right.
while you're pretend driving a semi truck at night. Awesome. It was fucking so cool.
Yeah, the ambience of the truck.
And yeah, John Keel said he was. This is back in the day. Obviously, it was like not even like mid to late 60s, 67, 68.
Right.
Or 66, 67, I forget. Probably, 66 to 68 in that neighborhood, somewhere in there.
Sure.
And there used to be, he says, just like general magazines, which aren't really a thing anymore. Everything's like niche thing. Mm-hmm. But there used to be just like, you could write articles in magazines, like whatever. So he was freelancing for magazines.
Yeah.
A bunch of them. And he went down to Point Pleasant, I guess, to interview a kid who had a cat with wings and was charging 10 cents to see this cat.
Sure.
Per, not 10 cents per person to see the cat. It wasn't the cat.
Right.
Don't watch the cat purr. That doesn't make any sense. But the cat, it was bullshit somehow, and the wings just fell off. And I don't remember what he said, because he's kind of older at this point, so it's him and Art Bell kind of rambling at each other for a while, which is great. I loved every second of it. But he went down. That's how he got into Point Pleasant. He started like looking around at people and asking questions. And Mothman came up a bunch. And so he was like, "All right, well, let's just amalgamize all these Mothman things." And out of that came the Mothman Prophecies, which is his book. That was, I think, in '74 it got published.
Yeah.
Which is kind of just an account of all the Point Pleasant bullshit. Yeah. Of people going, Mothman told me bad shit was going to happen, and then bad shit happened.
And that's where a lot of that's where all of it comes from, really, is those. Which the book itself didn't, weirdly kind of stirred up a little bit of a pot, but it really wasn't until that fucking Richard Gere movie came out.
That's what definitely mainstream popularized the book. Yeah, too.
But that's when they got that. The government made them put a statue up of Mothman.
Did they really?
Yeah, they
I know the statue.
They gave it to them, and they were like, okay. We'll get to the statue. Keep the statue in mind. I got shit about that statue.
I don't like the statue.
It's ugly.
I think
as
it
fuck.
looks stupid.
It's stupid as fuck. It's really ugly. It doesn't look anything like any description of
That's
Mothman.
what I was thinking. It was
it's
like,
real fucking bizarre.
I always too, when they started naming him Mothman, was just like all the descriptions of him and stuff. Was like, who gets moth out of this?
That's the papers that were reporting it really early were calling him the Point Pleasant bird monster.
Yeah, it's like a bird, like a man bird.
They were constantly calling it a bird monster.
Yeah,
which is fucking.
I mean, people were saying they think it was, I think it's a sandhill crane or something like that.
There was a biologist who said it could be a sandhill crane, despite it not being very likely that one would navigate that far.
And then birds are big too, and they wouldn't. People in the area wouldn't recognize it because it's not native to them parts. It just would have been a random crane that.
Sure,
but
or an owl was a big one.
That'd be a big ass owl, and owls are big.
Well, they were.
Owls are bigger than you think they are.
Yeah, there was one guy who said people don't because there's always that thing where you don't actually realize owls have gross long legs.
Yeah,
and they were talking about if you just saw an owl standing, legs out, full, because they were saying that the those owls have 4 to 6 foot wingspans.
Sure.
It's that shit's gonna look massive in the dark.
Yeah, especially if you don't know what you're looking at.
Right.
For sure. But even so, the sightings are pretty consistent as far as how tall it was, its wingspan.
Yeah.
You know, because the sandhill cranes, they have it's like a 6-7 foot wingspan.
Yeah.
And at a distance, I guess, but between, it doesn't sound like a jump, but between 7 and 10 feet is kind of a jump.
Sure.
So it's the legs though.
Yeah.
The legs, it looks like a guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I've seen, we live in Florida. Mm-hmm. I see cranes on the daily.
Cranes do not,
they don't look anything like
I never bought the crane thing. I could buy an owl, just because I bet, especially the initial sketch. You ever seen that where it's it's just owl shaped. It's just straight up
kind of bulky up top, and
it almost looks like the Flatwoods monster if you ever seen a sketch of that. Mm-hmm. Where it's just what the fuck am I looking at?
What even is this? Yeah,
this big dumpy looking thing. But yeah, Mothman's weird.
He's definitely weird.
Unlike Bigfoot, I never sit there and I think, but Mothman's a biological thing.
I don't think so either.
No,
it doesn't seem that way. He doesn't behave physically. He doesn't.
Takes off with no motion.
He doesn't flap his wings.
Yeah,
so it's what the fuck are the wings for? Mm-hmm. And then there's a whole thing where he's interdimensional, and you're just kind of seeing what your brain can process.
Right.
Because Mothman is actually trans-dimensional, and you can't look upon it. Your brain can't process what you're actually seeing, so it just kind of makes something up in a way.
Yeah.
And because Mothman is such a prevalent thing, that's just what your brain is ready to see. So.
Yeah,
that's that kind of one of the branches too of the hub of Mothman is the interdimensional ridiculousness.
The fourth dimensional being that can see outside of time and shit. Yeah, those are
is
fun.
Why he. That's why he can predict things, is because he sees outside of time. He's got a little bit of Dr. Manhattan going on.
Right.
He can kind of pinpoint things.
1966. I'm in Point Pleasant.
Yeah. I'm in love.
I'm in love. Oh man. Let's peel back and do another little tangent here, a little thread.
That's all this is gonna be
about that owl mentioned. Because one of the big theories is that it was an owl with possibly mange, is what the kids saw.
Oh sure.
Because that TNT plant that we talked about. The TNT plant is a detail that is, as a teenager, always fascinated me. I loved it because it felt like Bigfoot. Bigfoot doesn't have a lair. Bigfoot has the woods. Chupacabra just has the woods.
Yeah.
It's like the Jersey Devil. Jersey Devil has the Pine Barrens.
Right.
Mothman has that TNT plant, and that detail's always fascinated me. Of
he's got a little cave that he lives in.
What's going on in the TNT plant? What's up? And it's more when I really dove into it, it's more plausible than I thought, because the TNT plant actually, for decades, the government said, shut down, it's fine.
Yeah.
Turns out, No, it's like fucking polluting that land.
They're running uranium through there.
Yeah, red water in the dirt. Fucking people of Point Pleasant have been drinking tainted water, eating food that was like fucked up from this shit.
Yeah,
it was a big government like fuck up that they've just been flat out lying for years.
Yeah,
forever,
long time.
So this idea that like
it's the uranium. It really will fuck you up, man.
It's it's like, what are you doing? But
I don't know if it was enriched yet.
Yeah,
but
just the idea that this whole stretch was just horribly contaminated.
Right.
Just poison land. I buy the chance that those kids saw maybe a sick owl and freaked out. Maybe.
I don't know.
Especially since the initial report for them was bird monster.
Yeah. I mean, for one, you do. I feel like people underestimate how big owls are.
Yes.
Especially like seeing one too is like, oh, that is a powerful animal. It could fuck you up if you wanted to. And especially if it's sick and got mange and all. Yeah. But it's like, could that owl keep up with that car like that though?
If it even did. I think people see crazy shit if they're fucking freaked out enough.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know? But that land is really interesting. That the fact that was like a huge government cover up is actually a weird thing that you mentioned earlier that a lot of that it feels like it goes nowhere. I think everything goes somewhere. It's all connected. I think.
God damn it!
They're calling me crazy. It's the all TNT connected. Plant, fascinatingly enough, that is Chief Cornstalk's land.
Yeah.
That is the land where Chief Cornstalk owned. This is a more side tangent. There's not enough about Chief Cornstalk that's actually that interesting, but the story goes he went on a peace mission. The American soldiers killed him.
Yeah.
He cursed them.
He cursed the land.
To strike them down.
Super
we
cool.
polluted it. Mothman appears shortly after the TNT plant is polluted, so we're told. And then Mothman completely disappears out of the area once they turn it into a nature preserve and start cleaning it up. That's a narrative that you can follow.
Sure.
However, a historian found out that the Chief Cornstalk curse is part of a school play that was like embellished.
Oh no!
They made that part up, so it's weird. That's weird on its own.
I didn't know that.
However,
goddamn Chief Cornstalk, I was rooting for you, buddy.
The American general that killed Chief Cornstalk and Chief Cornstalk both have statues in Point Pleasant, which are
they facing each other like gonna fight?
I don't know. I don't know about that, but they are very conspicuously made of the exact same metal and the exact same coloration as that Mothman statue that the government made Point Pleasant
mandated.
It's like silver and gold. It looks exactly
it's got, like
rubies
and shit.
Yeah,
in it
looks.
Something?
It looks just like them when you look at it. It's like that silver with like the gold.
What are they doing?
What's going on? That's weird.
Why do they do that?
Like at first I was like, oh well, the Chief Cornstalk thing's a dead end, and then I saw those statues and I was like, the fuck is this?
I didn't know the statue was government.
They were like given it.
That's so strange.
I don't know how like forced it was, but like they embraced it and it kind of became like their thing. But like,
well, it's kind of like I don't know. You've never been to Roswell, have you?
No.
Okay, me and my wife.
I'm not sure I want to.
It's cool. I like the town actually.
Sure.
I enjoyed it a lot. It's definitely you can tell people there
are sick of aliens.
They fucking hate aliens. Well, I mean, there's a million gift shops, and I bought some like astronaut shirts and shit.
100%, yeah.
And because I'm in Roswell.
Yeah.
And like you stay at a hotel, it's got a flying saucer.
Right.
And shit. They got every restaurant has like a green burger, or a green omelet, or whatever.
Of course.
You have to cash in just because it brings people around, you know.
Yeah.
But the lion's share of the residents there are just like so over aliens.
I would be.
But I could tell the city itself, this is where I'm going with this as far as the Mothman statue thing. You probably didn't have to argue too hard to get them to put it up. They were just like, yeah, absolutely. We're the Mothman town. That's what we do.
Well, actually, that's the thing. I've seen a lot of people who were upset about it because it was like the last time Mothman was like a thing was bridge collapse.
Yeah,
it was kind of sensitive for them.
That's what it's always strange to me too because they have the Mothman festival in Point Pleasant.
It wasn't until like later Like, that movie really made them like a big hotbed for shit like that.
And it's just like, I can definitely see where they're coming from. It's like, dude, my fucking uncle died on that bridge, man.
Right?
Kinda not cool.
Yeah, it's like, there's only 100 of us. Half us died on that bridge.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, yeah, you know, it's weird.
This tiny little West Virginia town just blown up by a goddamn interdimensional bird monster.
Now this is another thing too, because it might not have been an owl. It might have been a guy in a fucking hazmat suit that they saw. Because there are lots of stories, there's lots of discussions, because we get this big thing with that there wasn't just men in black that were popping up. There were legit members of the government poking around saying, as soon as Mothman got spotted that night, they got cracked down hard and were told nobody is allowed to be around that TNT plant, especially not with fucking guns. So there was this big, it's assumed right now that the government was trying to keep people from finding out.
Sure.
They had been poisoning their land.
That tracks.
And that was one of the things I had read once of just like, here's what a hazmat suit looked like at that point. You notice how it has reflective goggles?
Right.
Like, what would you think if you turned a corner and illuminated it briefly and just saw this guy standing out there
in a gray suit?
Yeah.
With the
that's one
60s hazmat suit. I'm gonna look at a picture.
Look them up. There's a couple.
What would then? But they talk about its wingspan. What would the wings be? Do you have a jet? Do you have like Buzz Lightyear wings?
You know what? We'll get to that too, because that's also a fucking possibility. But yeah, so that's one avenue, is the idea of government cover up of the you know, the nature nightmare that they pollution. But that's also an avenue which we'll go to now. There are
plausible,
right? It's fucking horrifying.
Yeah, it's not good. But the
wingspan thing is weird. I mean, because it's a major detail.
Yeah,
but that's also a thing.
It's it's a every single time consistent detail that everybody gives.
But that's another avenue. Men in Black started popping up after people were talking about Mothman.
Yeah, which honestly, Men in Black can be its own
thing.
episode.
Yeah,
but we would just, I don't know, what would we watch? Men in Black? I mean, I'm down.
We'll definitely cover it. There's enough, but the Men in Black of Point Pleasant, at least, they had a very big MO. They didn't want anybody talking about it. They were telling everybody, stop talking about it. Don't. It's not a thing.
They're also possibly not even human.
Yeah, they're all very, very strange. They're mannerisms.
Super pale. What was that one?
They had like tubes going into their fucking socks.
That one guy who came to his house who was like, he was huge.
Yeah.
And he like, he was like super pale.
Yeah.
And he was sweating. He goes like, I'm gonna need a glass of water in about 10 minutes. And then he took this giant pill.
Yeah.
And then he stopped because he was getting like redder and redder, like he was getting stressed or freaked out. And then he took this pill, giant yellow horse pill looking thing.
Yeah.
And then it went away. He was fine. His like one eye didn't move.
Yeah.
And like his clothes didn't fit right, and the way he talked was weird. And he was like asking really weird questions about people, about like where their birthmarks are and where they were born and stuff like that. And it's just like, and it's reading and listening about stories like that, for me personally, is like, how do you let that dude in your house and go, hey, what the fuck are you, man?
How are you?
What?
You're not a person.
Yeah, you're not a human.
There's tons of that though. Like several people were constipating these guys.
You're that hotel one too.
Which one? Yeah.
Where they're caught on video.
Yeah.
Where they're They're walking into a hotel. I don't think that was Mothman related, but it's like I accidentally. This is what made this particular research so fucking exhausting. Was I would get down a rabbit hole and spend like a day doing Men in Black stories and be like, oh my god, we're doing a Mothman show. What the fuck am I?
That's the thing too, is like all these the Men in Black were just like deflecting and trying to get people to stop talking about it. And this is very
try and like explain it away to like get you stuff, because there's never any the government, our government, makes threats. They will call you and be like, yo, we will fucking come to your house and shoot you in the goddamn head. if you keep talking about this.
Right.
But the Men in Black don't do that.
No,
the Men in Black are more like, yeah, they're trying to be friendly.
Yeah.
They're just look super strange. They don't have any hair on their bodies. And
Right,
they're like
right.
constantly smiling, and their phraseology is weird. And they go, hey, they try to explain it away more like than just saying, hey, don't fucking talk about this or your family will get killed. You know, which I think is super strange. It makes them think like, it makes me think that they're not part of the government, obviously, because that's just not
How
the
we
government's
operate.
MO.
Yeah.
If you build a car that runs on water, some government will come to your house and be like, hey, I'm gonna fucking kill you if you try and do anything with this.
Some government will come to your house.
Somebody will. Or
And
like
that's-
the fucking the UFO things. If you
Right.
see a UFO, you have proof of it, they'll just come to your house and just burn it down if you don't, or pay you off. You know, they don't try to convince you that it was something else.
Well, that's the weird thing about this is, and this is another avenue you can go that I find fascinating, is the idea that what was seen that night was a guy in a personal flight suit, like some kind of proto jetpack.
I was gonna bring this up.
With like laser reflective goggles.
Sure.
So that, cause,
like radar goggles or something?
Because like knocking planes down with like a laser, just to pop it up there to fuck up their navigation was like a common thing.
Happens, yeah.
And it's like Cyclops' goggles. It's that like ruby quartz looking shit that reflects it. And
I would think even that it might be better that might be like proto seeing infrared kind of things.
But yeah, you driving out there and you accidentally see a guy who looks like fucking Arthur from The Tick.
Yeah.
Just fucking jetpack and wings. And
My
like
favorite
a little
Mothman, by the way.
thing. Yeah. But you see that and it's like, there it is. There's your wingspan. Could be a white gray suit.
Especially takes off without flapping.
Yep, exactly. That's another big thing, is they say it just goes up vertically. What else could do that? Jetpack.
There might be, but fuck, man, like there's no,
Dude,
there's no
butt fuck man.
butt fuck, man. Oh shit, terrible superhero. Really niche.
Really niche.
But there'd be like a rocket booster or something. 60s tech, unless they were reverse engineering 0-point energy from a crashed UFO, and they're just.
But that's one of the big discussions, is like maybe that was something and they were trying to just like it was seen, it started becoming like a national thing.
Yeah.
Hush hush, or like Bird Monster.
Oh, it's a Mothman, exactly what it is.
Done. Yeah.
You guys are crazy. Hey,
exactly.
Fucking do not get seen anymore, Rogers.
Exactly, yeah. That's one of the main threads a lot of people go, is that Mothman is actually an elaborate cover up for
Government fuckery.
which is why that newspaper got fucking on that so quick.
Sure.
Like, you need to report that a bird monster was seen last night.
Nah, I mean, it does the same thing any cryptid does. Is like, logical people, quote unquote, automatically dismiss it. Sure. Just like, whatever, it's a bird monster. And then they can kind of still keep fucking around, because if they get seen again, bird monster.
Yeah. Which is why, it's another detail about it, where it's like, it was a bird monster so fast, and then they tried so hard to get people to confirm a bird that was being seen, but everybody consistently was like Mothman, big bug thing, or like weird shapeless. That's another thing too. A lot of people don't describe like details. It's always just the shape, which is interesting.
Which it makes sense
head,
too, because if
sometimes
you're horrified and running away, you're just gonna see a shape and be like, that ain't good. And
big old eyes.
Yeah. Big eyes, no good. Bye bye.
But yeah, this is what I'm saying, is like, you have all these fucking things like Indian curse, Native American curses, G-Men, Men in Black, the possibility that this was like Cold War, like spy stuff.
Dude.
And we're not even, let's go into him now. Mr. fucking Indrid Cold.
Indrid Cold's a whole nother, like...
He actually shows up before Mothman's first sight.
Yeah. Well, that's what I kept...
Like, flagging cars down on the side of the road.
Yeah, and just being like, hey, what is that? And they're like...
What's that over there? Yeah.
The city? And be like, oh, yeah, okay.
Oh, it's a city? Yeah, and
we call that a gathering where I'm from.
Yeah.
That guy was really fascinating me. There was Woodrow... I got his name written down. Derenberger.
Derenberger.
Woodrow. They call him Woody Derenberger. And he was the first one who at least came forward. That was another thing, because they have his interview on YouTube just to listen to. And that shit, when he's telling that story, he's on the fucking TV or whatever. Or on the radio at least. That shit happened the day before. It was the previous night.
It's weird.
And they were just already, he was like, no, this fucking guy came up, he talked to me inside my brain and just asked me some, like, completely. Hey, do you have a job?
Yeah, what's going on?
You know what I mean?
Hey, how's it going?
And he was. It seems to me, it's hard. You can't separate Indrid Cold from Mothman, right?
No,
they always
close.
Come up.
Yeah, and they happen like
together, but they're like
coincided, but they never were like.
When I was doing my research, they're like not related at all.
No,
it's a coincidence that they're both
at the same time. Yeah, it's so weird.
It makes me think that there's like some Stranger Things bullshit going on, where they're like in that TNT plant, they accidentally like made a crack in dimensions and shit's like coming through it, and like aliens will come down to be like, hey, what is that? Because we noticed a crack in the space-time continuum. So they're like going down to see what it's about, but they're not running into G-Men. They just go down and stop a dude in his truck and be like, hey, what's the deal with that town over there and all this stuff? You know what I mean? So
that's another thing. Indrid Cold is another one of my favorite things about this whole thing. He's, again, never described as sinister. He's all, odd. Like there's two little boys. There's like boys that were biking home have an Indrid Cold encounter.
That chased him.
Well, like they
oh no, that was a couple, I think.
They saw him over, like he was behind a fence, and he was waving at him and trying to talk to him and stuff, and like they didn't go because he's fucking terrifying.
Because he's
weird smiley man.
Well, that's the thing is when you go to Google Images and type in Indrid Cold, you're only gonna get like the Joker, the laughing man looking dudes who's just like a way distended grin with like sinister looking eyes and stuff. But he's not just.
Well, he's described as like
he just has a perpetual
smiling,
grin. Yeah, he just has a perpetual grin. But I've never heard anybody say that it was like
sinister.
It was too wide.
Yeah,
it just looked like he was constantly smiling, and he never wasn't smiling, and his mouth didn't move when he talked.
Yeah.
That's the scary part. It's not like it wasn't a scary smile. It's that the smile didn't move at all.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's what I think is scary about it.
I just always find it's just nothing in Point Pleasant was sinister, really.
No.
Like Mothman, it's unsettling, scary even.
Yeah, well, just because
based on
it's something,
what it is.
Because it's not a human.
Yeah.
And it's something you've never seen before. It's in the dark.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
You're startled.
Yeah.
But no hostility. Indrid Cold never fucking fucked with anybody.
No.
His spaceship is actually interesting. It's described very well, and a lot of people have pointed out that it looks like a blackbird. Like people are like, it's a triangular ship that fucking.
Oh really? Yeah, because the guy Woodrow said it was like the top of a certain lantern.
Right.
I forget what he said.
But,
specifically the type of lantern he said, but that guy, his life got ruined because apparently Indrid Cold like kept in contact with him. He would disappear for days and weeks and months at a time, and come back and either be like, "Yo, I just went to Venus," or be like, "I don't remember where I went at all." Like his kids even came in contact with Indrid Cold. His wife left him because he just couldn't handle all the shit. People started coming to his house and being like, "I want to see the spaceman," shit like that, and like it. I just don't see how it relates to Mothman. It just also was happening.
It just was happening at the same time. And when you really just look at the pile of shit that was happening,
that's what I'm saying.
You're just what was going on in that 2-year block?
Yeah, what caused all this shit?
Yeah, and that's what's so fun to me.
It's what frustrated me.
Oh man,
when I was doing all my research, was like, dude, what the fuck? This doesn't have anything to do with what I'm trying to find out.
Well, there is actually a theorized explanation.
Oh sure,
all of it.
Does not doubt.
That is corroborated by actual CIA intelligence.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I love some good CIA intelligence.
So, this is around the time that they were starting to do things like MK Ultra and other like social experiments on the human public.
Yeah, dosing people and crop dusting fucking...
There is a chance that Point Pleasant was actually a targeted, a mass hysteria event where the CIA went in and started seeding like people with things to see what they could get the American public to believe. Because there's all this shit. There's Men in Black showing up just saying nonsense to people.
Yeah.
You know, you get the Mothman stuff, which can be easily explained by just fucking anything, really. You know, people see it and get scared. And most of that could just be, again, I think mass hysteria lends a lot to it. And this is kind of the... I think this is the answer. I think that what happened was we had the government come down to this town and start fucking with bumpkins.
Right.
It could have just been some guy named Ted flagging people down and just being weird to a guy.
And just is from out of town.
Yeah.
So he kind of looks...
And this guy
maybe it was
freaked
cold
out.
outside, that's why his arms are always folded.
Yeah.
Because it's just cold outside, and he's like, hey man, what town is that?
Yeah. Could have been anything. Or just, act weird. See if you can get them to think it's weird. Like, try and trick them. And because this is something that the CIA was doing. This is what we were doing to people. We were fucking dosing people and seeing what they would believe. Because we wanted to know, like, the extent of propaganda and false information and different things like that.
Yeah.
And I think over the course of 2 years, Point Pleasant might have just been the target of this. I mean, I always cite it, like, whenever, like, me and my wife would talk about stuff where she's like, well, how did so many people believe this thing? I always just say, there was a town in India with a river full of garbage and sludge, like pollution.
Yeah.
And they all just claimed it tasted like sweet honeyed milk for just months. And no one could stop them from drinking this horribly poisoned water.
That, like, river life or whatever.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about.
And I'm like, that shit gets in the head, the zeitgeist of that fucking, of a town like that, and they all believe it or not, they're gonna do it. How many people do you think really even saw anything? How many?
That's what I would bring up, rather than, like, it was a targeted psyop.
Oh, I think it was a targeted
would be, like, some people saw some weird shit, and now whenever anyone sees something they didn't immediately know what it was Mothman. Maybe. Which adds to it just throws a couple, throws some logs on the fire of this hysteria stuff. I don't know if what's the end game of freaking out bumpkins?
Just to see what they can get the general public to believe.
See what they do, and then also...
Which is, you know what? It's true. People believe fucking anything.
Yeah, no, I'm not...
Sure.
Not discounting that. It's more just like, what the fuck for? And also, like, the Men in Black thing doesn't really track.
I mean, all it had to do was be couple CIA guys hanging out, going around freaking people out.
That look identical, that... like shave their eyebrows. If they
even did. That's the thing.
There's more than one.
Eyewitness accounts are like the least usable thing.
Well, too bad, because that's literally all we have.
But that's what I'm saying. That's why I think if there is a likely explanation for all of it, that's what it is.
I like it better that there's a fucking crack in space-time in the TNT plant.
Listen. Me too, but I'm thinking about, like, if I'm looking for the realistic
practical way to do it. I just don't. That doesn't seem that practical to me because it's too weird. It's not specific enough.
Talking about the CIA,
end game.
Never made any sense.
To what end? Because, like, okay, are we saying that we could culturally drive a town insane?
Yeah.
What are they gonna go to, like, the Middle East and just start driving cities insane?
Well, I mean, if you think about it, the U.S. government has been letting UFOs be the cover story for their own experimental aircraft being spotted for
a long time.
70 years.
Yeah.
So, I think that figuring out how fucking dumb the U.S. population might be,
right,
is valuable. As valuable as how much LSD can we pump into people before they go crazy.
Their mind literally cracks in half.
Because, like, there was no benefit to what the fuck. Like, CIA just does shit.
Yeah,
I don't think they.
But there is always some like, mostly what can we weaponize kind of thing.
Sure.
Is usually the CIA's MO as far as like projects like this, like MK Ultra and all that.
I mean,
bullshit.
Weaponized mass hysteria, just being able to go into a town and just get them to just...
Unless it was the mass hysteria that collapsed the bridge or something. You know what I mean? I just don't see...
I think that was
I don't see the motive.
I think the bridge was just a...
Accident.
Yeah. And then they just pulled out because they were just like...
oh shit, a little too many eyes.
Yeah, or, you know, or at that point it's like... Nobody's going to be thinking about the shit we're pumping in because tragedy, you know? I think that's probably, like, if I'm going for, like, what the most plausible thing is, that's where I lean. Which is one of the reasons I love Mothman so much is, again, just because it is such a fucking...
Clusterfuck?
It's such a labyrinthian fucking...
Yeah.
It's a nest of cool shit.
There's a lot going on. It's kind of like, it's got a real Skinwalker Ranch vibe.
Yeah.
Where there's just, like, so much shit and not one thing can explain it away.
Yeah.
So, it's... Just because I like stuff like that too, where it's just like, what does even that have to do with anything? All of it's cool. Maybe Injured Cold and Mothman just like never, they have nothing to do with each other.
Yeah.
You know, it just happens to be...
I love the idea too that Injured Cold is just an alien who was hanging around.
Yeah.
The Men in Black were investigating what the fuck ever.
Yeah.
And Mothman is just this cute, weird moth guy that hangs out in the woods.
This
and
interdimensional...
I was like, hey, what are you doing?
Like, he doesn't seem...
You dropped your baby. What's going on? Like, peeking in houses.
Hey, I noticed you got a couple bolts loose on that bridge. Anybody want to do something about that?
Still love the image of him in a little vest.
Yeah.
Little vest and hat.
Little hat.
Writing, checking things off. Mm-hmm. Oh, man.
Because they broke it down to, like... That was the thing in that Richard Gere movie. After the climax of it, and they said that the cause of the bridge collapse was never found. It was like, what? They got it down to the failed beam. Like,
yeah, 100% not true, pal.
It's his engineering. They have... Like, every part is numbered.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, they know exactly what failed. They can. There was actually a thing that I seen that they read off the part number of the thing that failed and caused the bridge to collapse, and it was like there was just like a lot of threes in it. Like in the part numbers in the series, there was a lot of threes, and people were saying there's something to that. There was another person that I read.
I fuck around numerology.
I know. There was that's a whole fucking ball of wax.
Whole fucking dumb thing.
But I like some of it because it's like those cool like number puzzles.
Sure.
Where you can just be like, okay, now you just do this bunch of horseshit numbers. You're like, okay, times 0 plus 12. I bet it's 12.
You're like, oh,
you know what I mean? Oh, shit.
Oh.
And then, but there was somebody I was listening to that said that something didn't check out with the cause that they put out of the bridge going down.
Sure.
They said that there was something kind of off about that. Like, there was something else that caused it, and the people were just like, nah, this is what it is, just to get people to shut up and not look too close at it because it was something else. Mm-hmm. And Mothman getting spotted on the bridge, and I differ from your point of view slightly because the whole him being a harbinger of disaster is fun. It's like some weird metaphysical demon that gets spotted like a gremlin. Like, they say he was at Chernobyl, he was at, like, some Russian apartment complex that collapsed or blew up. He was at the bridge. They say there was another one, too. No, it was from the movie that I said he was in the Oklahoma City bombing.
Yeah. The only reason I don't really, like, it's mostly two reasons I don't really care much for the prophecy parts of it, where it's like, again, a lot of it came after, which is like it kind of like starts diluting how tight the weird 2-year block is when you start getting this stuff that only came up later. Yeah. And then I'm like, this is worldwide Mothman. It's only because it detracts from like
this
the part that I'm super interested in. Yeah. This fucking like Twin Peaks
cool little backwoods paranormal town that like nobody knows what's going on. Nobody, even if they knew what's going on, they couldn't really explain it to you. Yeah. You know, which is, I like that vibe too. Twin Peaks is a really good thing to bring up because that's definitely the vibe. There's a bunch of weird, probably unrelated bullshit going on. And
tons of weird little fucking episodes you could do about just nonsense. But yeah, I mean, you brought it up. We might as well might as well fucking talk about the Richard Gere movie.
You want to?
Yeah. All right. We're gonna talk about Mothman Prophecies.
The Mothman Prophecies.
A movie that I like half of.
I mean, some of it was cool.
Sure.
There's very rarely is there a movie where I can't find something in it. I'm like, that's pretty cool.
Sure.
Very rarely. The Mothman, the earlier one that I was talking about, was pretty close. But even then, I was like, Mothman looked kind of cool, I guess.
Sure.
The end.
So this movie, The Mothman Prophecies, was in 2002?
I think so.
Yeah. Starring Richard Gere and a bunch of people that you'll know. It's a lot of, those people. The lady from Truman Show, the wife, is a big one.
She's in Ozark now.
Yep. But it is I say based, very loosely based on the same book, Mothman Prophecies.
By John A. Keel. The guy, his name is John, but it's like John Klein.
Yeah, it's really weird.
His job isn't the same. He's like a better journalist. He's like a respected journalist.
Yeah. He's totally a Mary Sue, right? Like, he's a stand-in that's, like, better than him.
Right. Yeah, maybe.
But he's like a hero. He's gonna use the information he got to like
try
to save the world.
Everybody's against him.
Oh no.
Maybe.
But yeah, it basically follows a journalist who ends up after the death of his wife, after she saw the Mothman and got into a car accident, which revealed a tumor
in her brain.
Yeah, that then
a super rare tumor.
A super tumor.
That was like, what did they say? Like 1 in 600,000?
Yeah, like Jesus.
That sucks.
It sucks.
Buy a lottery ticket, buddy.
Dude. But so he ends up going to he gets some job after his wife dies, and on the way
he just has the same job.
Well, he gets like an assignment, is what I meant. Yeah. And on the way to it, just ends up like 200 miles away,
400
miles away. Out of the way in Point Pleasant, of course.
Yeah.
Where he then begins to experience supernatural events that are amalgamized versions of things told to
John Keel.
Yeah, John Keel in the book.
Yeah.
For
so
his book, at least.
You get a lot of events getting twisted or put together. It's mostly people getting put smushed
together. Yeah. Mainly Gordon. Gordon's like
2 or 3 people. Yeah. Because Gordon is the first guy when Richard Gere first... Okay, so he's driving to...
I don't remember
either. A very famous town in West Virginia. Or, no, he's going to Richmond.
Yeah.
Virginia.
That's it.
And he ends up in Point Pleasant, West Virginia. Which is like right on the Ohio state line.
Right.
And he's like, well, how the fuck did I cross the entire state? What the hell's going on?
Yeah.
So he's... this is... Before this revelation comes, though, he's driving down the fucking road and his car dies. All the power goes out of it. He's looking at his watch. His watch isn't working. His cell phone isn't working. Those nice, like, old Nokia brick cell phones. And, which something's wrong. If that thing ain't working, something is really wrong.
And the early bits of the movie are like I was saying, like the tone is like solid.
Yeah, absolutely. They're cool. The way they stylize the lens flares and stuff is cool. Mm-hmm. They got kind of like a Massive Attack ish
the soundtrack is
going.
Very early 2000s.
Yeah, very Angel but Massive Attack sounding, and then kind of got like. I mean, that's pretty much as stylized as it gets. There's little transitions
some rough CGI as they use.
Oh man, dude, CGI can get real bad, but luckily they don't really use it a lot.
And they're obsessed with
there's no need to. Because spoiler alert, there's no fucking Mothman in it. He's not even there. He gets sketched up sometimes, but I bet Mothman would be mad at those pictures. He'd be like, "Dude, that doesn't look anything like me."
There's one kind of shot of Mothman when Gordon sees him, but we're getting ahead of ourselves, I think.
Oh, when Gordon sees...
When he see, which is another thing, is that they mix Mothman and Indrid Cold into
he's
one
like probably
entity.
the same thing.
Yeah, which I don't like very much
Which
at all.
is kind of dumb, but it's like, dude, you gotta do something with this goddamn pile of shit. You know? Find some kind of, what if they're the same person? We were saying the whole time, like, what if his wife was Mothman the whole time? What if
Everyone's
Richard
Mothman.
Gere was like Tyler Durden the Mothman?
Yeah.
It's a whole fucking mess. But okay, anyway, he's driving to Richmond, and his car dies out. So
100%.
he has to walk for a while, and he comes across this house. So he goes in there, he's going to use the phone. And when he knocks on the door. When the door opens, there's a dude sticking a fucking shotgun in his face. It was like, I knew you'd be back. Pulls him into the shower like fucking like Training Day.
Yeah,
when those Cholo dudes are gonna blow Ethan Hawke's brains out. You know? And he's like, hey man, close the door. That was always my favorite part of that scene. That's gonna do anything.
The meeting with Gordon's actually really well done. When he starts,
I think so too.
When he called the cops and he relays it to her, it was like every
He's
night
all
for the
frantic.
2 nights.
For the past 2 nights, it's been you at my fucking
at
door.
2:30.
And guess who came to the door?
Yeah.
I was ready this time, motherfucker.
Yeah, and it was even better is that Richard Gere afterwards isn't like, I don't necessarily not believe you, because I don't remember how I got here.
Yeah, especially, because when he gets to the cop lady shows up, takes him to a hotel, and is like, alright, get the fuck out of here, really. You know, unless you want to sleep in your car, well, I'll fucking call you a tow and everything like that. And then, he's like looking at a map trying to figure out where the hell he is.
Right.
And it turns out he's like 400 miles off course. He doesn't remember. He should not be there. How the fuck did he get there? And that's when the next day he runs into Gordon in the street.
And he's like, dude,
and it's like, yes, I don't know how I got here.
Yeah.
So are you sure it was me?
Yeah.
Kind of. He's not necessarily ready to dismiss the fact that he was last night. Like, yo, fuck you, I wasn't here. What are you talking about? You're crazy.
Yeah, Richard Gere is like very, like, refreshingly like trying to figure out what the fuck's going on. Like he's like, he gets obsessed with that town. Like he doesn't want to go to his actual job anymore.
Yeah. Well, because something weird is going on. It's like, and it's almost like the time jump after his wife died is too much.
Right?
Because this might be a good, he's obsessing about this so he doesn't think about his wife.
Yeah, because he has a breakdown at the end when he finally like admits that he misses her so much.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like it should have been like 2 weeks.
Yeah, she comes up a lot too. He's got the picture up and stuff like that, and Mothman's probably using his wife to fuck with him. Because that was the thing too about there's some things in the movie that are like actually come up in the real Mothman encounters and the happenings there. Because like Mothman and Indrid Cold just fucking with John Keel is a huge part of like the Mothman prophecies. John Keel felt like he was being personally fucked with.
Yeah, which I have mixed feelings on John Keel.
I love it. I think it's hilarious. He was telling him that like that the Pope was gonna get killed, and and then some guy tried to kill the Pope.
I mean,
and there was, I don't know if it was the bridge he got told about. I think it was afterwards.
It's mostly just I feel
it was
like
supposed to be a blackout. I think what there was something.
I just feel like whenever I read that shit with John Keel, I was just kind of like, you're just trying to feel like you're part of this.
Yeah, it could definitely be.
You get the fuck out of here, John Keel.
His stories are cracking me up though.
I mean, they're wild. It's a fucking solid spooky book.
Oh yeah,
for sure.
I've never read it. I think I've read excerpts, and of course I know a lot about.
I haven't touched
the stuff that happens in it, but
I think high school. Like I read it in high school.
Right.
Yeah, because I'm stupid obsessed with that shit.
Sure.
But
where were we?
Oh,
the hotel.
Hotel. Yeah.
So he gets up. Yeah, he goes to
Gordon.
It picks up. He's at the tow yard, and the mechanic there just going like, I can't find anything wrong with your car. No charge. Which we were like, nice,
dude,
good on
right
buddy.
on that guy.
Yeah,
we were like, yeah, what a fucking saint.
What a champion that guy is. Like, no, it's good. I couldn't find nothing wrong. You don't owe me anything. Like, man, them small town mechanics, gotta respect them.
That joke though about charging him for emotional distress,
yeah,
going crazy trying to figure out what's wrong with
his car. Yeah, and then so he finds Gordon.
Indrid Cold told me that your transmission was gonna blow.
The ice is gonna break. It's a Dead Zone joke.
Oh no.
Yeah, so then honestly, that's kind of when the movie nothing fucking happens, man.
Oh my
Nothing
god.
happens.
Well, it's still,
I'm trying to
it's still
think
good
through
for
the
a
plot.
chunk because they talk to the teens
Yeah.
who saw him, and like their eyes got red and puffy.
That's a real thing from Mothman
which
stuff.
is a real thing.
You
from,
get,
from the Keel book.
Klieg's conjunctivitis.
Yes,
Which is kind of the same thing you get if you were to look at somebody welding without a welder's mask or goggles on.
I believe that is
Similar
also
to pink eye.
Yeah, that's also from like Keel's investigations as well, which is
There
always...
was also something there. There was a link between menstrual cycles. A lot of the women were on their periods at the time. There was also this story about this, like a Red Cross blood donation truck getting chased by a UFO. It wasn't but they thought it might have been Mothman, but it was actually a UFO, and it had claws that come out of it and tried to grab it and shit.
Which, like...
Chasing blood around, like, who fucking...
Dude, you're vampires.
What's going on, dude? Such a mess.
Strange days in Point Pleasant.
No shit, that'd be a cool name for something.
But, yeah, he starts investigating, talks to the teens. When there's that part where, like, for no fucking reason, the girlfriend goes, "We're engaged."
We're engaged.
And it was like,
Okay,
cool.
bud.
We were like, all right.
And that's when we were like, yeah, Richard Gere was like, my wife is dead.
My wife died. But yeah, most of the movie is like really weighed on his relationship with Gordon and them going crazy together.
Which I like.
Yeah, no, that stuff's really good. You get
I like their little bromance. It was, I don't know why, but it was like, it was a good energy.
You get the cool phone calls from Injured Cold. You know, which is that is a chilling one where Gordon calls him and he's fucking right here. And there's just there's something about the way Gear does say it where it's like this like long pause where he's like, "Can I talk to him?"
Yeah.
And you're like,
and Gordon's just like,
yeah, sure, yeah, hold on. And then Injured Cold's voice is fucking weird, of course.
Yeah, it's all like, he might be a robot.
Right.
But,
and they do the things where they talk about...
That was a cool thing, where he, like, takes his watch, puts it in a shoe under his bed, and he's like, okay, where's my watch? And Injured Cold just tells him where it is. And he's, like, trying to, like, making him read lines out of books.
Yeah.
Like...
Which is all stuff that,
supposedly went down.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the way I read it, the whole finding the watch thing was John Keel couldn't find his watch. Like, he didn't hide it on purpose. He just had lost it. Yeah. And was like, Injured Cold, where's my watch? And he told him, and he found it, and he was like, okay, cool, thanks, Injured Cold.
Thank you, my psychic alien friend.
Yeah. Appreciate you. I've been looking for this motherfucker everywhere.
Oh, man. Yeah, but well, you're right. Once it really, like, they do the investigation stuff, it's like, the movie should begin being about putting the mystery together.
Yeah.
But it keeps, like, widening the net.
See, that's the
eventually,
movie.
Yeah, eventually you start getting that guy who's like, oh, they're angels and stuff from all over different cultures. That
the movie has the same problem I had, where it's just like, how do you fucking find a through line?
Yeah.
Good lord.
And then
you talk about the dude he goes to visit in, like, I think Chicago.
The guy who majored in exposition for paranormal movies.
Yeah.
It's always this kind of guy.
Yeah, it's always that dude, that Brian Cox.
Yeah, the Patton Oswalt looking dude.
Yeah.
Oh, man. But, yeah, and then, you're right, the movie just fucking stops.
No, it keeps going.
I mean,
it's just anything that happens in the movie stops.
A car going downhill when the engine cuts out is still going, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. It is still physically
we
moving.
have no control over
We're still here watching it,
But yeah, nothing much happens.
That scene in the hotel is probably the peak of the movie. That's like the highlight of the movie.
Yeah.
Because that was well done. I enjoyed that. Mm-hmm. And there are some little things. It's mainly like camera movement and stuff. It's like, that's a cool little fun way to use lens flare. There's a couple. That's an interesting crane shot.
Like when the cop lady is like, there was this lady asking about you, and it's like his wife.
It's his wife, and he's just like, get the fuck out of here. And
didn't look like this. It's my wife. Yeah, like that's pretty cool. Gordon dying out in the woods to exposure is pretty cool.
Yeah.
There's just that little moment where she's like, when did Gordon call you? And he's like, an hour ago. And you're like, ugh.
And there's some time fuckery too.
Right.
Which is, there's some Injured Cold quotes pulled from the real world. Because like, I'll see you in time.
Yeah.
That's a thing he said to a couple people. Mm-hmm. Let's see what else is there. That whole, the whole hotel situation, actually a form of it went down. They kind of do the
Woodrow Derenberger encounter with with Gordon.
It is just so sinister.
It's way more sinister. He's just like freaking out for a while, and then he like tells him that he's like talking to him out of the sink and shit.
It's like, what the fuck?
Oh yeah, I think I can't remember what he tells him when he comes up to his truck.
He talks about, like, 300 will die, like, it's gonna be okay, or, like, don't be afraid, 300 are gonna die. He, like, predicts, in the movie he predicts, like, some...
Which must be after he was talking to him out of his sink, telling him that 99 will die, Denver 9.
Yep. Which is just... Yeah, it's a thing I don't like about that movie, though, is it's mostly just because of how fucking grim and fucking... everything feels sinister in that movie.
Yeah.
And I don't like it. And I've already spoken my piece about why I don't like it.
Yeah, because nobody ever got attacked by it.
Or said, like, Injured Cold was ever anything but too nice.
Cordial?
Yeah, too nice. You know,
he was just weird looking and freaked me out.
What's wrong with being weird?
Because he talked to me inside my fucking brain.
It really is. It's just, I mean, and the movie is very clearly, it's more concerned with being about, like, the shit that went down in John Keel's testimonies and investigation than it is what actually, like, went down in the initial events.
Yeah.
Which is why it's fine. I always accepted it partly of like, yeah, this is, I guess, like, a part of it, but, you know.
It's just too much. It's kind of like we said when we were watching it. It's a real World War Z vibe.
Yeah,
you're trying to make this book that is pretty much just like accounts and real world quote unquote true stories, and you try to make like a narrative flow out of it. It's not gonna
work.
It doesn't compute really.
And
that's why this movie sucks. That's why World War Z sucks. And those books are probably fine. I haven't read either of them, but
oh man, World War Z is.
I have heard nothing but good things. I just never got around to it.
Incredible.
Max Brooks is my boy, dude. Love me some Max Brooks. Son of the Great Mill.
The Mothman Prophecies book is super good. I mean, it spooked me when I was younger.
It's still super popular.
Yeah. And at the time when I first read it, I did.
Or in the cryptid community, it's still super popular.
I got real. I mean, I started loving Mothman and Injured Cold mostly because of that.
Right.
But as I've gotten older with many things, I look at it and I go. I often look at, like, the initial thing and go, that's, like, just pure. Yeah. I do it a lot with, like, Batman and like Star Trek. I look at the core original idea,
right,
and I start going like, God, why can't it just be pure?
Yeah, this
weird wacky thing, you know. And I don't mind the idea of, like, Mothman being this, like, harbinger, or Injured Cold being, like, a little less, you know, a little bit more directly involved, not sinister, but involved, or, you know. He's not sinister because he himself is evil or intent of harm, but he, you know, just the nature of being...
He's sinister because...
He's an outer, planar thing.
Exactly.
Like,
and it's
because you're experiencing something that's
He's
unnatural.
Trying to help you, in a way, because him looking like a human is so you're not freaked out when you see him, but because they can't, like, be a convincing human right away, it's freaky looking.
It's weird,
you know? So
it's just one of those things where when you really, really look at it, it's really fascinating that not so much the Mothman, but partly him too, but mostly Injured Cold. It's like the original sightings of Injured Cold and the John Keel Injured Cold are, like, very clearly separate, like, different portrayals.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
they're
even
very different characters.
In the first sighting, that dude in the truck, Woodrow Derenberger, didn't say Indrid. He just said his name was Cold.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't know where Indrid came from. It's probably just because I didn't, like... I couldn't find the right thing to dig on, and
I don't know if that
kept getting distracted.
That might have been a Keel thing. I can't recall.
It's like because where do you get that name from?
It's,
you know what I mean? Like, who makes that up?
It's a cool name. I've always been hooked on that name.
Because that's what that guy said. It said his name was Cold, and that was it. And there was some other cool stuff too that really lent the going back to the actual first sighting of him. There was some really cool stuff about or that lent rather to him being spoken to telepathically in his mind, because he was like, he gave the indication that he was pointing, he says, to the city, and there was certain like turns of phrase to where the guy who's given this account is kind of just like, just knew what he meant, rather than like it was like it wasn't words in his head, it was just kind of like ideas and feelings and stuff like that.
It was like true, like empathic communication.
Exactly.
No, it's fucking, oh man,
which they don't really dig into.
No, it's just
Indrid Cold
stuff's
is
gonna die.
He's talking to you.
He is the Mothman.
You don't ever see his face.
Those are good fucking shots though, when he's like talking through the window.
Oh yeah.
And it's like off kilter kind of.
It's got the Dutch angle thing going on.
Perfect silhouette, like it's super cool.
Like filter red over top, and it does look cool. Because he's like tripping out, and Gordon is like tripping out in his truck, like holy fuck, he like can't breathe, and feels weird. All the dials are going nuts and shit.
Of course. But man,
his wife leaves him, and it's
Gordon's life falls apart too.
Yeah, man. Mothman destroys your life. Well, in Indrid Cold,
being obsessed with it ruins your life.
And he probably doesn't want to be. He's like, dude, what? Why?
Stop.
Come on, man, be cool.
You think he would have told Gordon, your wife's gonna leave you?
Yeah. He's like, I don't care about these people dying. How do I fix my marriage?
You know what's funny too is that initial sighting of Indrid Cold describes him as being in like a silver jumpsuit, like very like traditional alien sighting.
One of them did, yeah. But the guy in the truck was just like, he just wore like a jacket.
Well, because there's like that where it's that. And
there's one where it's like a green one too.
Yeah, and then later they see him and he's like dressed normally. I always love thinking about Indrid like landing, talking to somebody and be like, damn, look at me, really funny. Oh, the jumpsuit. And then getting a coat, and then being like, hey, what's that city over there? And then like getting clothes.
Slowly, like Kyle Reese in Terminator, he's like gonna pick him off clotheslines and shit.
Yeah, the Mothman got sent back in time. So Indrid, it's like, you don't get it. We blew up the facility. We'd won. It's just me and that thing. He's gonna take this bridge out.
Yeah. He will not stop until that bridge is collapsed.
Until that bridge is collapsed. Does that bridge?
It turns out there's like the savior of mankind was on the bridge, so they're trying to, and it worked.
Yeah, they did it. That's it. That's why we're in that timeline.
Yep. Mothman Skynet.
Oh. Well, I think we've exhausted.
I mean, what's the end of the movie? There's
the bridge falls.
Yeah,
and then nothing.
The thing happens. Yeah, they changed the number of the dead, which is weird. And they say they don't know the cause of the bridge collapse, which is fucked.
I'm telling you, it's because Richard Gere was there. He saved 10 people. Right. It's a different timeline.
Must be. Well, clearly because nobody's name is the same, and John Keel looks like Richard Gere, which ain't true in real life.
No. That's why I am. Definitely, he's Mary Sue of John Keel.
Oh yeah,
he's like, I need somebody
himself up handsome. Yeah, which is pretty much all Richard Gere is in this movie, is handsome.
Yeah, he's not the best part of the movie.
No, but like I was saying too, is like
he's never bad.
He's never offensive to me.
Right. Yeah.
But I've never been impressed with Richard Gere. Maybe it's the one you probably look at, his classic one is The Officer and the Gentleman.
Right.
But that sounds like. There's two people, like the Prince of the Pauper. He's an officer and a gentleman. But, that's his, like, standout performance, but that was fucking, 30, 40 years ago?
Right.
So, guess what? Get it together, Richard Gere. Show me some Mothman.
Yeah, no Mothman in this movie is, like, the biggest fucking problem.
I don't care if he's... Like I said, this is almost even worse. That's not true. But this is... in the same vein as that shitty one I watched.
Right.
The real shitty one. Where it's just like, dude, at this point, all the, like, palpable thriller tension is kind of soaked up. It's like, just give me Mothman ripping people in twain in the woods for the last 20 minutes of this movie or something. Give me something.
And then to get those, like, little shots where, like, Mothman, you see the shape and then it turns into Indrid, and you're just kind of like, oh, we're doing this.
Yeah.
Or like Richard Gere like hits his closet door that has a mirror on it, and you get like a half hair second of
a face, which I was like, is that a fucking like camera guy or something in there?
It's weird, yeah. I don't. There's actually, and this might be Mandela effect. I remember being very disappointed when I first saw the movie because in the trailer there is a shot where they see like a full terrifying looking thing. Like it looks like a corpse face, like a.
I think I remember that.
Like a weird like alien sunken eyes look thing. I remember seeing that in the trailer and being like, whoa, I gotta see this movie to see what that is. And it's not the movie. There's nothing like that.
Yeah, I think I remember what you're talking about, actually.
Yeah, we might be crazy, but I remember that very vividly.
We may be right.
Maybe crazy. Mandela effect. But
we just may be the lunatics you're looking for.
But yeah, I feel like we've exhausted Mothman a little bit for this.
I'll tell you what, I'm exhausted with Mothman.
Oh man, I'm not. I never will be.
I gotta do some. I just kind of had a deadline is the issue.
Oh.
You know what I mean? I had to get.
Yeah.
We're doing this, and I couldn't. I would find something that's really interesting, and I would dig for like seriously a whole day, and then be like, "Fuck me, this is not. I'm not gonna be able to use this info. Like it's got nothing to do with mainly the Men in Black. I've dug into the Men in Black shit before, and they're just like."
I think that's almost what's so fun about Mothman for me.
Yeah.
Like, why it's my favorite.
Oh, dude.
Is you made it perfectly, like, the hub of, like, you can start on Mothman and then just be like, how did I end up over here?
Yeah, what even...
Let's go back.
We're just Richard Gere at the hotel room. How did I get here?
I woke up.
I was
4
400
YouTube
miles...
videos later.
Yeah. Questioning my decisions.
Woke up and YouTube's just like, are you still watching? And you're like, wait, what?
Am I? Ooh.
Oh, fuck. Pinkerton conspiracies.
Look down, you're wearing a tutu, you look up, you're just like, yeah, in a satellite somewhere or in a public pool in, like, Fresno. What happened?
So, we're at the stage of the episode where we just final our thoughts about how do you feel about Mothman?
Mothman, I fucking like Mothman. The way he comes up with the plans and then the Tick just kind of executes them because he's really strong. You know what I mean? And he's kind of like the brains behind the operation, whereas the Tick is more like, you know, just brute force, but got a really big heart, but Arthur's the brains.
It's good.
Nah, he's cool, man. I like Mothman.
Right. And
if you're going and digging in Mothman, just fucking be ready.
Pack a lunch.
Pack a fucking lunch, dude. That's a good thing to say. Because goddamn, it can go any which way.
And I love him. He's like I said, my favorite, like, American thing.
Right.
And I would definitely I'd go to Point Pleasant. I'd go check out the TNT
Absolutely,
plant.
dude.
I would never go to Roswell.
But
I'd go to the TNT plant.
I liked Roswell.
Sure.
Roswell's cool but not because of the alien shit.
Sure, yeah.
Alien shit is fun.
A cool, like...
I went to the museum and everything, and it was just kind of like whatever. It's kind of cool, but it's mainly just a cool little New Mexico town.
Right.
That's really the aesthetic of this.
It's like a condensed Americana.
Yes, and I love that. Really tickles me in a certain way. Just and the same thing would happen in Point Pleasant. I'm almost positive that everybody there is just done with it. Is hilarious to me. That it's like their one claim to fame. They have this one weird thing, and everybody there is just like, dude, don't fucking bring up Mothman for the love of God. Like I was in. Me and my wife were eating breakfast at the Cowboy Cafe in Roswell, New Mexico. Go check it out. The place is gangsters, the best biscuits and gravy I've ever had in my life. So good. Bought a mug there. Anyway, we're sitting there and we're eating breakfast. It's kind of planning out what we're gonna do for the day, or like planning the trip because we were taking a road trip. And these guys came in. This family. Big fat guy and his wife and their son, and the waitress goes, okay, hey, 3, and the guy goes, yep, 3 humans, and you could feel the entire restaurant roll their eyes. Like, Jesus fucking Christ, this guy. And I started laughing immediately. I was looking at my wife going like, hey, if you gotta say You're a human?
You're not.
You ain't a human, man. Now I'm just gonna watch you, like, with your frog tongue coming out, picking up biscuits off the tray like fucking Jar Jar Binks. Anyway,
Oh, no.
That's a fun little anecdote about Roswell. It's a cool town. I would go to Point Pleasant, though. Absolutely. Because, like I said, I like this vibe of...
Right.
Dude, don't wear that fucking Mothman shirt around me kind of thing. You know what I mean? You know their Little League baseball team is, like, called the Mothmen. Oh. And, like... there's, like, Injured Cold was here, and... They got plaques on park benches, like, Injured Cold and stuff.
I would definitely... like, wear a shirt that says "See you in time," though.
Oh yeah, that would be
rad
cool.
as hell.
If you find the right thing, it might be fun.
100%.
But yeah, that vibe cracks me up. I like this. I like that energy.
Yeah.
Everybody just sighing every time some tourist comes over like a moth hat and like they're just like taking pictures around town. Everybody just sighs as hard as they can.
Right.
Rolling their eyes like, motherfucker, dude. I gotta go to work. Get out of the way.
I don't think Mothman has a rival though amongst the cryptids. Like I don't think, not in terms of quality. Let me preface.
Yeah, I'm
more
not sure
like
what you mean.
more like if you're gonna like research Bigfoot,
Yeah.
you've got a route.
Yeah.
You're gonna research Chupacabra. You've got the thing. You're gonna research aliens. You're gonna go pretty much one direction. Aliens have a lot of cool side things.
Aliens have a million.
Yeah, but nothing really, like, nothing starts so fucking small.
Yeah.
And spirals so fucking...
into this
wildly.
tapestry of...
Like Point Pleasant for those 2 years.
Yeah, especially the name of it, too, is really good.
Yeah.
It's a nice little pocket of...
It's like perfect.
Weird.
It's like fiction.
Yeah.
It feels fake.
Yeah.
Which is why
it probably is.
Part of me believes, like, that town doesn't exist.
Just like all the cryptids, they're fucking fake.
Well, yeah, of course. Except for Bigfoot.
Yeah.
He's real.
And Bigfoot will always be real in our hearts and minds. But yeah, it is. I totally get what you were saying. It's like the fact it's called Point Pleasant. It happened in the 60s. There's like weird aliens and government and cryptids and monsters and kids getting chased in their 57 Chevy.
It's like too good.
By a monster, yeah.
Shit talking out of your sink.
Ah, so cool.
Oh, but that's all we have to really say about Mothman.
Pretty much. Go out and do your own digging, everybody.
Please. It's a mine.
Buckle up.
It's a fucking whole deal.
Yeah.
Oh,
You're going to be busy for a while, and people will not want to talk to you about it. Trust me.
But I have picked our next prompt.
Did you?
For, this will be 2 weeks from now, our second episode for the month.
Yes.
Much simpler, but a little bit of something we had to do since we did vampires the first time around. We're doing werewolves. Not why or when, but werewolves.
Their wolf. Their castle. You remember that?
What was that?
That's Young Frankenstein.
I just watched Transylvania 6500 like 2 months ago.
Oh, yeah?
That shit's really good.
Yeah, it's fun. Gina Davis and Ed Begley Jr. and Jeff Goldblum. That's a weird one.
But yes.
The werewolf in that movie is the best.
Yeah, he's just a dude with he's just got the hair condition.
Yeah, we can talk about it later,
but
we'll wrap it up here.
Yes. So anybody watching, please do your research on werewolves. I don't exactly have a movie picked out right away because there's a lot of choices I'm kind of like looking at. But I will announce it on our Twitter. You can follow us at the scariest hour on Twitter.
Yeah.
And this will be posted where all podcasts go.
Yeah.
Spotify.
Where you get your podcast. Go ahead. Listen to it wherever, dude. We ain't even picky.
But that's the end of tonight's topic.